7 FM. We're just about 9 minutes to 9. And Start Right Reset series is live. And we had an interesting time yesterday. Today, we have another great time with you. We're talking to Dr. Francis Kojo Osei this morning on the iMDrive. He left Ashanti Gold years ago as a research scientist to answer his call. Today, he's pioneered Christian media, that is Christian media, CBN. CBN that we all know, CBN we partner with right here at Sunny FM. Thousands of water wells across length and breadth of Ghana. Great Commission movement, pioneering Christian youth missions, now trains every year thousands of pastors and leaders, leads medical missions to reach thousands in rural Ghana with the love of Christ. He's the man we're talking to today on the iMDrive. Jenny.
Yes, and we're excited to have you, Dr. Osei. Welcome to Sunny 88.7 FM.
Thank you.
You know, before we got on air, he was talking to us about his relationship with our former finance director, Dr. Okanse. And all these years, apparently, he had not come to Sunny, but today he's here. We believe there's a purpose and plan for his coming here. So we trust that as the Lord leads this conversation, it will come to pass.
Let me remind our listeners, Jenny, that we're live on our socials. YouTube is Sunny 88.7 FM. We're live. Please, when you go, subscribe to the page so that everything we do live, it comes to you with just a notification. We're on Facebook as well, Sunny 88.7 on Facebook. We're live on Sunny TV right now as well. So go on your App Store, your Play Store if you want to catch the pictures live, and download Sunny TV GH app. On it, you're finding Sunny FM and Sunny TV also live for you to join in the conversation. Now, if you're a corporate person, you're hoping to fall into purpose, you've got a whole lot on your mind, you want to go into ministry, I think today will be the day that you may be able to pass on a question to Doctor on the show. So you can join us 0540-130684. That is 0540-130684, or put your questions wherever you join us on the socials. We'll bring it on as well.
Fantastic. So Doc, we would like to take you back to your time as a research scientist with Ashanti Gold years ago, if you can share your experience from that time.
Okay. Actually, while I was in school, I'm talking about UST, I read chemical engineering. And in 1976, Ashanti Gold came to recruit some of us as their prospective staff. In fact, I think there were 6 of us from various engineering fields. And I was the one chosen from the chemical engineering group.
Wow. So
I began, even while I was a student, my long vacation times were spent at Ashanti Gold Fields so that I would familiarize myself with the operations of the mine. And when I graduated in 1978, and to some extent, I already known to them. And I began work first as they called me metallurgical assistant. And metallurgical assistant.
Okay, metallurgy, okay.
And then after about a year, I was promoted to what we normally call research metallurgist. And that position is actually one step to management position, because from research metallurgist, you go to chief research metallurgist and you become part of management. So at the time that I was the research metallurgist, there was a British who held the chief research metallurgist. I had just to wait for him to go, and then I would become the chief research metallurgist and join people like Brother Sandrona and others in the management place.
Okay.
So that was how it was.
Ajima, do you notice he's speaking about with so much pride?
Yep.
I mean, how does it feel? You've just come in new, and then there's this promotion that comes. You're so close to the very top as a young man, so full of ambition.
It felt good, and it felt like being honored also. Because most of the in the mines especially, people really long to be close to where you get the free gold, But here I was, just after a year of being there, I was actually put in the place that where we have our shaking and concentration table. There's a vibration table where we concentrate the free gold. and that was where I was. Most of my research was to see how I could improve on the concentration and on the recovery. So I held the key to that part of the Gold House for about 1.5 years.
1.5 years. Yeah. The keys to the Gold House. Doc, what would you say were some values or principles you worked with that may have gotten you to the top in such a short time?
First of all, I believed and still believe that wherever God places you, it is a mission field for you. It's not accidental. So when I went to AGC, I saw the place as a place that should be one for God. And if that becomes your objective, you are careful to make sure you represent God properly. Somehow people have eyes to see it too. So the leadership, there was one Australian who was the sector director or sector head. And I think he trusted me so much that one time, even after I had left, I was visiting a friend and I stopped in front of the gate because the security people have to let you in. This man met me there. He said, "What are you doing here, Francis?" I said, "Oh, just passing by. I wanted to greet my friends." He held my hands and went to the security and introduced me to them. He said, "This man, when he comes to the gate, just allow him in. Wow. Don't ask him any questions." So it is that kind of trust that I had from the mind. In a sense, too, I was pampered.
Doc, share a little bit of the pampering with us.
I remember that's where I got my firstborn. My wife, Cecilia, was also teaching at the Obuasi Sectec. Okay. So here we were. I was working in the mine. My wife was teaching. We were quite stabilized as a family. And when we got our firstborn, I remember I went to those who are in charge of our housing, and I said, "Well, my mother-in-law is coming to take care of our baby, and I want her to have her privacy. Could you give me another bungalow?" And they did.
Okay.
At the same time when I had my firstborn, I went to my director, this Australian man I was talking about, and I said, "Mr. Evan, I've gotten a baby and I need a little more money. Could you increase my bonus this month?" And he did.
Oh, wow.
It's like having such a rapport with people that wherever you go, there's some favor on you. That's what I experience in the mind.
Jenny, I did I think class 4 to 6 in Obuasi. Okay, my mom worked at a hospital called St. Jude Hospital, and so I grew up. Some part of my education, so I understand how pampered senior staff who worked at AGC were, where their kids went to school. AGC had their own school, and it was a school you couldn't just enter. It doesn't matter how much money you had in Obuasi, you had to be in a certain, class to be able to go to the AGC school.
Studying geology, we also would go on field trips. One of the places we went to was Ashanti Goldfields. And Ajimai, all of us wanted to come back and work there because just that day's visit, Ajimai, was not easy. The pampering, the kind of lunch we had. So I say, "Hey, so people they eat this lunch every day." Yeah, so no, we have to, when we finish, we have to come back and work here. So I guess, I get what he's saying, but you've been favored. While in that place.
Now, Jenny, I would also love maybe an overview of the now before we go to maybe the shift, the conviction of getting into. Since you left AGC and started ministry, so far, what have you done? Because we know, CBN, we know the A3 ministries. Yesterday, I spent a whole night researching on this worldwide, church planting ministry. Yeah. So far, an overview into where God brought you as well.
Yeah, right. When I left AGC, I transitioned into many organizations that were all connected with the vision of expanding the gospel. I served with Great Commission movement was first called Campus Crusade for Christ. Okay. And I was posted to the University of Science and Technology as the resident staff for Campus Crusade for Christ. So reaching out to students, reaching out to professors and all that. In fact, I would say part of my joy when I travel is that almost everywhere I go, I meet people who would say, "You helped me to become who I am." Something like that. It's so beautiful. And at Great Commission movement, which later, that's the name we gave Campus Crusade later, I also served a group called Ghana Evangelism Committee. It was the umbrella organization to help in the evangelization of Ghana through the churches. And I was the secretary for about 13 years. Just close to that, another organization that was working, reaching out to children called Kids Around the World. They came, got into contact with me, and we began ministering together. I became the national coordinator of that one also for about 9 years. Before I actually transitioned to the CBN, where I served as the national director for some 16 years. And currently, the group that I'm with is called E3 Partners. And I'm with that group because I've had a passion all along to take the gospel where it has not gone much, and also help the existing churches to plant churches where there are not viable churches. While I was in Ghana Evangelism Committee, we did a research. The research was to find how many villages or communities were really unchurched in Ghana, and also to find about how many people go to church on a regular basis. At that time, we found that there were 14,000 rural communities that didn't have any church presence.
14,000?
That time in 1980s. Those kinds of things that grip my attention, see. So from that time on, I say, okay, whenever I have the opportunity, I will want to mobilize churches in the cities to focus on the rural areas. Some of them are not comfortable going because you spend to do ministry in the rural areas. But what are we here for? So personally, I would say that conviction and that kind of interest and passion for the rural folk is still that which grips me, and I ever get the strength to do it. It's like when you're doing something that really you're excited about, there's always strength. You know, sometimes people guess my age wrongly.
Maybe let's do a guess game right now. Ajimai, will you take a guess first?
No, but maybe we were helped a bit, you know, with
some numbers going back.
Yes, I mean when we so there was a script I got that said, "Oh, you're in your 70s." Yes, even though you look more like 60s. To be honest, more like 60s. And so I was expecting a much older person when I saw you come in. You know, I'm like, how is this possible? I mean, yes. And so
Ajima, you can literally feel the energy from him
Yes.
when he's talking about the work the Lord has used him to do and reaching the rural areas. You can tell that he's been walking in his purpose. There's a certain joy and fulfillment that comes from it. And I want you to share with us, you talked about leaving Ashanti Goldfields to all these things you've been doing. I want to know how that happened, that season of your life.
See, transitions of that kind, people may have different reasons. Some people may not be happy where they are, and they see the place as being a greener pasture, and they want to go there. There are some who do that.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Nothing is wrong with it. In my case, I would say I was quite settled and comfortable where I was.
Yeah.
Here I was. I'm in AGC. I'm paid very well. Bosses Tech didn't have a physics master for the senior class. So I was doing the part-time physics teacher for the Form 5 class. In fact, at that point, I was both the part-time physics teacher for Form 5 and the chemistry teacher for lower 6. In Bosses Tech, that alone, what I was getting from there was being higher than my wife's salary.
Don't wait to see cow.
You know, but that's me. It's like I was raised to be hardworking, and I enjoy doing hard work. My mother is the one that I normally give the tribute to. I say she helped me to be hardworking, and so here I was. My wife is bringing money. I was bringing money, both for AGC from my teaching. So, and we have a bundle. As you said, you go to the mine store where you don't use cash to buy. You use only your coupon. We have some coupons but with our numbers. If you are going by the agreement number, AGC, when you take a Ghana senior staff, they give you an agreement number. I was number 352. It's like the Ghanaians who had come and become Ghana staff, maybe I was number 352. And when you just go to shop with your agreement number, you shop and that's it. So at the time, especially 81, when Ghana, through 81 to 83, Ghana was really struggling
Yes.
with getting anything like commodities.
Scarcity.
They packed our commodities from UK every month. They will just bring it to you.
You didn't see 83 like the way.
Doc, you were in another Ghana.
So AGC, I would say that we were quite settled, my wife and I. It's like
were living
bringing
the
a
life.
family in a place where you have a promise. And one of the promises that was very keen, I mean, that was good to us, was that part of my agreement was that if I give birth to children, any four will be given education up to university level. That was part of my agreement with AGC. So here I was, everything going for me there, things holding for me as a promise. Then one day, but all along, as I said, everywhere I was sent, I saw it as a mission field. So even in AGC, while doing this, there was a fellowship in town they called the AGC, a West Town Fellowship. I organized a number of people there and were visiting homes. Sunday afternoon, we would visit homes and be preaching the gospel. So one day, I was on night shift. And normally I carried my Bible. When there is not much of work demanding my presence, I would sit in the staff common room and be reading my Bible. Around 3 a.m. there, I was reading Hebrews. And I read Moses, who did not cherish being called the son of Pharaoh's daughter more than being identified with the suffering people of Israel. And you know, when I read that, I felt a kind of a presence. And the presence, it is difficult to explain. The presence was saying, your work here has ended. And you need to move.
Wow.
And I asked myself, am I hearing right? And so from that time on, I began to pray about it. And I told my wife also that I'm sensing something, that the time has come for us to move. And I want you to pray. And to move where? At that time, while I was in school in the university, I had actually associated with Campus Crusade. And I felt in my spirit that's the place God was saying, move to. And go and harvest the gold in the students and the professors. That's how I felt. Then I checked more into Campus Crusade and their working conditions. And I was told, here, we don't have salary for anybody. When you are coming, you come and you raise your support.
Wow.
Raise support. And 2, you don't just allow, if you're a couple, you don't just allow one to come and maybe your spouse is doing something else. Because we want to have a common vision, we insist that you come together as a couple if you're coming. And then you both raise support. Okay. I must say that I didn't doubt God, but I feared.
Yeah.
So I asked God that, okay, God, let's do this bargain. Let's say, I would say that yes, in terms of your work, I want to do. But concerning this particular move, let me do it this way, that allow me to continue being here, and I will pay 2 people. I knew some 2 people who were on full-time staff, not with Campus Crusade, they were with some village evangelism group. So let me remain here and I'll pay those 2 people their salaries every month. So that at least you don't have just one, you have 3. You know, what do you think God said? You know, I sense in my spirit God saying, no. When I need you, it's not your money I need. And I said, okay. I salute, that settles it, at least for that one. Then there was another thing. At AGC, I had a certain agreement with the mine. And the agreement was that I work for a certain number of years, then when leaving, they will give me a lump sum. If you don't get there, you don't get anything. This was in January. And it will be August before I reach that level, that limit of time. And I said, okay, God, I heard you, but
At least
let me wait until
Let's
August.
chalk August.
What do you think God said?
Time.
Yeah, God's time is His time. So
wow.
He said no. So in other words, if I leave empty-handed, because that's the agreement.
No.
It's an agreement. It's not finished. Just that month, when I began to hear this and sense that we should go in, my wife also had prayed and said he felt in her spirit we should obey God. Just that month, I received a big rise in salaries, 50%. My salary was increased by 50%, and it was quite attractive. And I said, salary God, salary God. Of course, God won. It's not finished.
It's not.
Now, this last thing about my children, I just had one child then, and I knew if God granted, we're going to have more. And I have this facility that I would have 4 children being educated to university level. It's part of my agreement.
Yeah.
So
Motivation to have even more children.
yeah. So I'm going to cancel the agreement, and this is where sometimes you can hear the negative voice almost clearly. That day, Satan really insulted me. He said, "You fool! If you are destroying your future, you are jeopardizing the future of your children too. You fool!" In fact, at a point, that day that I was going to really cancel the agreement, that voice was so loud at the point that I behaved like a madman. I had to turn and say, "Get out of here!" You know? And I was given the strength to say something. Later, I will share what that thing did.
Sure.
I remember telling that voice that if AGC, a human organization, an entity that is made by humans, can guarantee a future for my children, God can do better.
Amen.
You know, and then there was a kind of a peace and calmness in my spirit. And then whatever followed. So you asked me about transition. That was the transition, and just that month I actually went over there, cancelled my agreement, and we left. We left with no compensation or something, but God said we should leave, so we did. And
I'm speechless.
This is Sunny 88.7 FM. It's the Reset series. This month, we're sharing stories of how people restarted their lives in various ways, from corporate to ministry, from ministry to corporate. We've started. Jenny, this is our third, right?
This is our fourth.
Our fourth
This is our fourth.
on the series. You can join us 0540-130684 with your messages, your WhatsApps, your voice notes as we go along. Subscribe to our YouTube page, Sunny 88.7. We're on Facebook, we're on TV this morning.
So, Doc, you say yes to the Lord. You turn away from the good life.
so to speak.
The greener pasture.
How
was it
did
for
the
me.
Lord sustain you the first few years going on?
I must say that when you are on the road to another city or another place, it's not the same as where you used to be. Because here we were in an environment that we felt quite settled. Now we are launching into a new area which is a little alien to us. Was it friendly? Not friendly, but we had peace in our hearts. I remember the time we left, it was February of 1981. The initial thing was that the organization we're going to work with had their training center in Jos, Nigeria. And it demanded that we go over there for training, initial staff training. So we spent about 8 months in Jos, my wife and I, and one child that we had. Even the environment, the different culture there, things were different. But I think in all this, one thing that we advised ourselves and learned was that we should not be complaining and grumbling. And that God cannot make a mistake. So it's like he is in it. And if there is even difficulty, it's part of school. Because when we came back in 1982, at that time, shortly after we have returned, there was this new Rorins taken over, and landlords in Kumasi were even not willing to let their houses out for rent. And my wife and I, within a period of about 2 years, we actually moved from friend to friend. We did it on about 4 different places.
Wow.
You go to a place, they give you one room, you carry just a mattress, put it down, and and so here we were, people who were living in our own bungalow. The one, in fact, before I left, the one they gave me before I left was air conditioned. And here we were, they're going from place to place in people's homes, just taking one room,
with friends.
And one particular time, I don't know, one of my friends, the male was the one who knew us, but the wife hadn't known us so well. No. So when we went, I think at a certain point, to the wife, we outstayed our visa. And the approach and the way things were not so good. So one time I came back from town, and my wife was telling me about how the wife had insulted her and all the thing. That day, our house were heavy. But I remember that very day, the two of us held our hands. And I had tears in my eyes, and my wife also did. And then you comforted
Each other.
I told her, Cecilia, we are in school. And when you're in school, you don't quit. Let's remain sufficiently until we graduate. When we are certified, we will have employment. So I think that, and you comforted ourselves with that God has his own kind of school. And he would take you through it. And when you really go through it, he knows where to place you. And I must say, it wasn't easy. Just at the time that I said this to God, and within that same month, one of the directors of Campus Osei then, he was in Kenya. He visited, and he wanted to see us. And I think he must have seen the home atmosphere that wasn't conducive. When he was leaving, he told me, Francis, if you find any house for sale or something, let me know. You probably can buy it for the ministry. Whether God put it on his heart or he saw something or a combination, that was it. Well, and I did my work of trying to go around and find something. And I found one close to the university campus. At that time, I think it required about $30,000. And I told him about it. Just within 1 month, he had released it for that house to be bought. So that from Patchen, we had our own home. It wasn't just one home, it was 2 apartments, 3-bedroom apartments. So we used one, and one was even available for understaff. So that was some kind of God's intervention to assure us that he is in this calling. And if we will not just grumble or begin to behave in a way that makes it appear as if he does not know what he's doing, he would come through with very wonderful interventions. That was number one. There are several more. I'll take it at the tail end.
Wow. Jenny, I think I would want Doc to continue. I mean, maybe if you would want to share more, or your greatest joy or reward in choosing this path and the impact God has used you within this whole journey.
The greatest joy is the transformation that I see in people. Because I felt God calling me to be a change agent in a positive sense. And whenever I come into contact with people and I see that happen, that is my joy. In fact, when you call me Doc, my doctoral study was not in chemical engineering. It was in counseling. And I chose that because I saw how people were in distress, are in distress these days. And I kept asking God that, what can be done about it? And at one time, I really felt God telling me this, that, okay, offer your hand for me to bless it so that you become the one who apply the balm of Gilead. There's a verse in the Jeremiah who says, is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician? Why then is there no healing for the wound of my people? And I felt God saying, let me make you one who apply the balm. And that's the time that God put it on my heart, that I should allow him to train me to become one who would counsel, especially pastors and Christian workers. I felt like those who are at the forefront of the battle, they get wounded, and people, instead of attending to them, sometimes would rather gossip about them, and it was hurting the kingdom. So I felt God saying, become become one who would be a support to this group. So I do a lot of counseling, especially pastors and people who are in prominent places, and they will not feel, at ease, maybe unburdening to a church member or to a colleague. So that's all.
6 minutes to go,
Yep.
and I have like a number of questions I'd like to ask. And I'm wondering which one do I do within this short time. But Doc, maybe this one is what I'm going to ask you first. That how did it go with your children? Did you have more? Did you stick with one? How did things advance? You were concerned about the education. The Lord said, "Trust me." What did He do?
Jenny, you're in the spirit, because that's what I was going to say. In fact, the second thing that gives me joy is about our children. We have 3 boy, girl, boy, 3 boys and a girl. Now they're adults. My first boy is in August this year will be 46. So that's quite. And then the last
Doc,
one
I'm your
will be 38.
granddaughter. I'm your granddaughter.
The last one will be 38. But concerning the children, the one that Satan, in his insult, said, "You are a fool. You are jeopardizing the future of your children," God has put him to shame. My 4 children, let me just give you a bit of catalog. The first boy, when he finished high school, that is secondary school.
Yeah.
Of course, he wrote the SAT, got a very high mark. And 3 American universities offered full scholarship. 3. We had to look through and find one. We traveled at that time, so we found an elite campus, smallish one, and we chose for him.
Doc, what taste? I mean, you got taste. So that's child number 1.
Child number 1, that time it was $30,000 a year for 4 years.
Fully sponsored.
Fully. The second one, when he also finished high school, the same university said, bring him over. The fees had gone up to $40,000 a year for 4 years. He was offered. My daughter, we actually didn't want daughters to leave too quickly. We kept her around here for the first degree. Then he had a half scholarship to go to Robert Gordon University to do financial management at the master's level. And after that, he got another full scholarship to do early child development, because he likes children at Northampton University. So he holds 2 master's degrees at not much cost. My 4th, the other boy, the last one, the same university that offered the first scholarship said, if there's another one, bring him.
Hey.
And we sent him.
Family legacy.
He was given $50,000 a year for 4 years. When you add up what I'm talking about, you see, wow, it's not finished.
Yeah.
When my first boy had finished first degree, he said, "Dad, I want to go to an Ivy League school for my master's." And I said, "Okay, you will go, you push, we are praying." And I said, "Which school?" He said, "I want to go to Harvard Business School." I said, "Okay, we are praying." That year, I think there were about 1,100 applicants, 11,000 applicants, and they were taking 1,000. First, he was chosen. The fee for the 2-year program, Harvard Business School, is $150,000. How can we get our meetings this year? Why? So we actually prayed. As we prayed, one day he called me and said, "There's a breakthrough." I said, "What?" He said, "There's an organization, a company in America that grants 2 scholarships per year to minorities."
Only 2.
Only 2, 1, 2 to minorities here in America. In fact, you Ghanaian, you're not considered part of the minorities as such.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the 2 this year. And so my first child went to Harvard Business School.
Wow.
This last boy, the second boy, he was picked by PricewaterhouseCoopers, and he did all these kinds of courses. He was picked by Barclays Bank at Wall Street. That one was Barclays. He was actually became one of the vice presidents.
Wow.
And all I'm talking to you now.
Doc, it's 9:25 here. Can we have you for a part 2? Because I feel like we're
No,
just
Jenny,
rushing
indeed.
this because
We're rushing through this.
yeah.
Jenny. We're
And
rushing
today is
through this.
Thursday. I asked to come. I'm like, Doc, please, maybe let me ask you live on the radio, all our listeners. Maybe then you say yes. Can we have you back to finish this conversation? Because I don't think we've even gotten
Yes.
to
I mean,
half
maybe
it.
sometime
half
next
of it,
week,
yeah.
Doc, look through your
Your calendar.
calendar.
For us.
Would it be another Thursday or some other day?
Oh, Doc, you doubt no, you and us will figure that. But if you say yes, we'll figure out a way to
All
make
right.
it happen.
Since something that God has begun, He has the right to finish.
Finish
So
it.
I'll be available.
Jenny, there are messages here. Maybe we can
Wow.
carry them on. Joshua
that
said,
quickly.
how sure did you know the voice of God? And this is something that this is on Facebook. Joshua Pierre, thank you for raising that. Jenny, we can let Doc maybe wrap up with that. We've got just about 3 minutes to go. Another message said, we want him back. This is on our WhatsApp as well, saying we want him back. Jenny, I think it's good thinking, quick thinking that maybe we look at Doc's calendar
Exactly.
and try and wrap up this conversation, because it was in my spirit that how did the children, how did they end up
'Cause I was
losing
thinking
all
as a
this?
mother, you know,
Yes.
my husband and then children. Okay, how did it go? You know, this is amazing, and also I think Eugene has also joined us. He also dropped a comment, but like you said, we're going to have to wrap up to make way for the next program.
Let's give Doc last words and then
Doc.
from
And maybe I'm going to have to do this in like 2 minutes.
Yes.
And maybe
yes.
try to respond
Doc,
to
for that,
Joshua's
for
question.
yes, to Joshua.
How do you know the voice of God?
Yes.
Okay. I think that if you begin to walk with God, and if you begin to read your Bible, and to pray, and to engage God in conversation, there's a way that God speaks to you, and it comes through. You catch it in your spirit. Sometimes you wonder whether you have heard it in your ears or in your stomach. But then it's something as if, yes, I've gotten something, some conviction, and it's so strong. It's not just ordinary coming from you. Maybe when I'm here again, I'll be able to go
talk
through
more
that
about
one
that.
in a way that will be very, very beneficial to Joshua, because I needed the same thing even in getting my wife. How God sort of ministered to my spirit and said, "This is the person I've given you." You know, you need to cultivate that. In fact, we cannot even do away with the counsel of our guardians or parents and things like that. If you are a young one, how can you do away with the one who put you together and knit you? You know, there should be a connection with the one who made you in such a way that you can hear him. In Psalm 32 verse 8 says, "I will guide you with my own. I'll counsel you and show you the way that you must go." And God, that's God's promise. And He's not just a lying or making a joking. It's a serious matter. That one we will visit it when
We are going to visit this serious matter, hopefully, God willing, next week. Do make a point, make a date with us. We'll let you know the day that Doc will be joining us again. We've got to check out of here to make way for Empowered Living. Thank you all for joining us, Doc. God bless you so much for the encouragement this morning, for sharing your story. We'll be having for part 2. I'm JJD. I've been here with.
My name is Ajiman. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Raise your voice and shout. Come on.